months ago, we took a look at an art app known as Simply Draw. It was an app that promised to teach you the fundamentals of art, such as shading, anatomy, techniques, and on paper it all seemed really good. But when we actually delved into the app, we found it was absolutely riddled with AI art and paywalls everywhere. And I left that experience feeling quite disappointed. Are there any art apps out there that are actually worth downloading? Will any of them actually teach you how to do art without absolutely bombarding you with AI or paywalls or just outright scamming you? Are any of them actually worth downloading? Are any of them even worth paying for? Well, I decided to go on that quest to find out, are there actually any art apps that can truly teach you how to draw? Because learning how to draw should be open for everyone, and it is quite the intimidating thing to start learning as well. So if there is an app out there that can legitimately help new artists grow their skills and learn all the techniques they need and become confident in their artwork and their ability, then we need to find that, because that's amazing if there is one out there. So this next app we're going to be reviewing in today's video, I found during my nightly YouTube shorts scrolling. I kept getting shorts served to me that showed this person using an app where you can draw over a pattern that's given to you, and it goes step by step, it's stage by stage. But the thing that caught my eye is that it seems there's someone drawing with them. It's a multiplayer drawing app, and in the shorts they're kind of communicating or maybe sometimes making drama, because you know drama sells. And this person's YouTube channel is literally all shorts of this app, so they're probably paid to promote it. But either way, I thought it looked interesting, and I thought, hey, maybe it'll be better than Simply Draw. So I jumped over to my iPad, went into the App Store, and found Artworkout. And immediately on the surface, it looks pretty good. And then, as usual, you scroll down to the reviews, and things get a bit worse. While they're high in stars, the reviews actually say it's not a very good app. And the thing that really concerned me, people talking about having to pay. It looks like we're going to get another paywall app here, but fingers crossed you can do more on this one than you can on Simply Draw for free. Let's give it a go. Upon opening the app, I was greeted with a line to trace in order to test that my Apple Pencil is working, which it was all good except for my shaky hand, and then it wanted me to draw a circle again, and you know how that went last time. Once my awful circle was done, it then asked me to colour it in. And at this point I was like, yeah, the YouTube shorts are pretty accurate. You know, it gives you a sort of pattern to fill in, you know, you just follow what it tells you to do. And it seemed quite fun and interesting. Just like Simply Draw, it asked me some questions to tailor the experience to me. When it asked me what kind of drawings I would like to draw, I put humans because I need to learn how to draw them, and then I put animals, drawing challenges, shading techniques, still life and landscapes. All things I thought would be quite fun. Little did I know, I probably wouldn't be able to do most of that. It then gave me an option of 3 things to draw, and I could already see the little crown in that teapot. The premium's gonna come in, isn't it? It's gonna be there. But I chose the rabbit. Now it gave me a pen and a colour to use by default. But then I remember the YouTube shorts that they were using different pens and different colours, so I started to sort of tap around on the screen, see what was going on. I found out you could change your pen size. I then found out you had this lasso tool as well, which sort of filled things in quite nicely. And then I found how to change the colour. And you bet I made this rabbit yellow for absolutely no reason in particular. So it's quite nice that you can actually change your colour and can make it sort of more for you. And then swapped me over to this sort of grungy brush and had me fill in this area, which I guess was part of shading. The issue I had with it though is you couldn't get it exact, but at the same time I don't think that matters so much, and I was quite happy to be a bit looser with it and to, you know, experiment with how I want to do it. And as soon as I started to do that, as soon as I started to sort of blend it out a bit with how I would usually do shading, the app punished me. You see that little red bar went up. Because of that tiny bit that I went over the edge for, the red bar went up and I lost points. And I think that is just a bit weird. Like, I get that it's trying to teach you and that learning is all about making mistakes, and the only way you do learn is by making that mistake and changing. But at the same time, giving me a like harsh red bar for just trying to experiment a bit was really like harsh. It just felt a bit unnecessary. But either way, I kept going. I was having some trouble with my lines because I just have really shaky hands, guys, and I usually rely on stroke stabilizers, which this app doesn't have. So that's not the app's fault, that's just me being really shaky with my lines and in my hands. But one thing I did notice was the pressure sensitivity in this app was just so bad. Like, it was cool that it had it, but it was so glitchy. Like, at times it would just go really thick for no reason. And then when I tried to go thin, like tape off my line, it would just continue to make it thick. It was really strange. But either way, I was able to complete my first drawing, and then it put me into this free draw mode, where it actually gave you the layers, and then it let you just do what you want. And I really like that. So I got every brush and tried out every single brush, and they're all pretty decent. I do think the crayon and the pencil are quite similar and you probably don't need them to be separate brushes, but the rest of them are pretty cool. And having a layered system for a fairly basic drawing app is quite cool as well. So I decided to try it out a little bit. I got the watercolour and added a bit more extra shading, and it was okay. For really basic simple stuff, this works well. But at the same time, if you want to do some proper drawing, then there's plenty of free art apps out there that are purely for drawing and not teaching you. They're just like a blank canvas thing you could draw on. One I used to use a lot was Autodesk Sketchbook, but there's loads of free ones out there that you can use to draw on, which give you a lot more options with blending modes and layers and brushes and all that sort of thing. But honestly, for what this is, I was surprised at how well it was doing in terms of actually letting you draw properly. And I like that after the fact it has this free draw mode. I then got given a lesson pass screen, giving me stats such as my time, my smoothness. I have no idea what first try means. But then it also gives you a score for accuracy, I guess, how accurate you are to it. And like I said earlier, I got punished on that bit that I tried to experiment with, and I don't ever think you should be punished for experimenting. Part of growing your art style is experimenting. It is trying things that you wouldn't usually do and seeing if you like it or not, or seeing if it'll work. So I don't like being punished for that. But all in all, my first impression, it's not bad. Upon continuing, I got given my 1-day streak, which is a good way to encourage you to keep going. And then here we go again. It's another subscription. I'm getting Simply Draw flashbacks right now. Oh dear. I mean, hopefully we can do more here than we can Simply Draw while on a free plan, so we'll have to see.
12 seconds later.
I might have to take that back because a lot of these have a little crown saying that they're not for free, so looks like we're not going to be doing much. I have to go do the only other free piece of art here, which is the shrimp. So I go to the shrimp, start making my line, and then I notice another line is being drawn that I'm not doing. And at first I thought maybe it was my hand touching the screen, that maybe my hand made a line by accident, but I had my drawing glove on, so that shouldn't be possible. And then I realised this was the multiplayer part. This was where I had another player drawing alongside me that I could interact with, I could say hello to, that is not a real person, that's a bot. That's not a real person, no way. No, I'm sorry, that is a bot. Yeah, they're like trying to make it look like it's a real person, but like, it's too smooth. It's like the mistakes and the shakiness feels calculated with how it's going. Because like I can be shaky, but look at the difference in how I'm doing this as a human, that I am following the curves. I'm not just doing this. I mean, maybe a person would do that, but the bot was doing it like this and deliberately being all over the place, you know, which is not how a person would do it, I don't think. I mean, it looks too intentionally messy to be a real person. Probably a bot that deliberately draws sort of shakily and poorly so that you feel better about yourself, which I guess, you know, human psychology, that would work. But at the same time, like, I don't know. I feel like maybe I'd rather just not have the bots, you know? I just feel like the way that was moving, it was a bot for sure. Oh, and an advert. Okay. So part of the free plan is obviously to get adverts. You know, I'm fine with apps having adverts. They need to make their money somehow. And if you're on a free plan, then getting adverts is usually the norm. So that's all right. As long as the adverts aren't constant, then I'm fine with it. Afterwards, I actually went back to the shrimp just to see if my theory of it being a bot was correct. Because if it started doing exactly the same movements as it did before, then it was definitely a bot. This time it was actually different though. However, this one was even more egregious. It was just way too smooth and mechanical with its movements, and you could tell that every mistake was just planned out. I mean, especially when it goes into that narrow bit of the shape, how quickly it suddenly goes, but how sort of accurate it is at the same time. Almost like it's a printer. This is definitely a bot. It is not a real person. So there is literally nothing else I can do. The rest of this is all paid. This is all, it's Simply Draw all over again. You can do literally 1 or 2 things and then you have to pay. That's just ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. So we are once again at that point where I cannot do anything unless I pay and get their membership thing. So I guess once again, we're going to be doing a free trial, aren't we? Wait, where do I actually get the free trial? While fumbling around searching for the free trial, I came across another piece of art that I could do for free, after watching an advert of course. So I decided to give this one a go as well. And it's pretty much more of the same, just fill in the area that it shows you with the colour that it gives you, using the brush that it gives you. It's very linear, but this one also had something that really annoyed me. Hello, I've done that step? But I've done that, I've just done that step. Do I need to do more here? Oh, there's some underneath that I could never have seen that needed to, and look, it's made my bar go down now. Well, that's ridiculous. So it wasn't completing it because there was some below this layer here that I couldn't have seen. But because I couldn't see, I then overfilled it, which is now giving me a bit of red bar. So I've lost points because of something that wasn't my own fault. That's dumb, that's dumb. Oh, for crying out loud, why does it keep doing that? Yippee! I moved on and came across a fairly interesting advert.
Why have I never heard of this app before? This is called ColourPop. One day I was like, why is my kid so quiet? And she was in the living room coloring, and this is the reason why. And she just loves to spend her time coloring, y'all. I love that it also has kid-friendly drawings. Sometimes she spends so much time on it, I have to check if she's still here.
I had to let that one play out because it was making me laugh. What the hell was that? But also the fact that it's got AI in the title immediately turns me off. But hey, maybe this is one we can try out. If you guys want me to try this one out, then let me know in the comments, I guess. Oh god. After laughing at the ridiculous AI voice on that advert, I continued to try find a free trial when I found you could actually make yourself a blank canvas, like it was an actual drawing app. And I found you could upload your own picture to actually, use that to learn how to draw the picture that you upload. And I thought that's really cool until I got to it and it was just tracing. It just lets you trace. I mean, there was an option for like making a lesson out of your photo, but that's a paid one and this is the free one, and the free one is literally just put your picture on the canvas, put it on a low opacity and trace it. And this isn't going to help you learn anything really. I mean, it can sometimes, but there are better ways to learn. So I quickly traced over this random ratchet photo I had in my library. And how did it turn out, you ask? Moving on, I decided to actually just delete the app and reinstall it in order to get the free trial offer to reappear, and thankfully that worked. So I started my free trial to get access to everything, and I decided the best thing to do with this would be to go and check out the actual learning portion of this app. So I was stupid and I paused the recording and then didn't unpause it. So it already says 1 out of 7 because I did a part, but we're going to redo it. But this is basically the actual learning part of the app, I guess, because those other parts didn't feel like you were actually learning anything. So let's see how this fares against Simply Draw, which was an app that I felt had some decent tips and learning tricks to it, but there was also a lot of faff in it and things that didn't really make too much sense. So let's see how this fares compared to it. Just like Simply Draw, this app has courses you can take. Lessons where it takes you through things step by step and teaches you how to draw, except this app does it very, very differently. My first impression of this whole thing was that this is great. This goes really in depth into what you need to do, while at the same time keeping it simple for beginners. Here it was teaching me the Loomis method, which is a well-known and popular way of drawing a human face, a realistic human face at that. And I knew this was going to be helpful for me. So after tracing around the guide on this guy's face, which is probably actually AI looking at it, but I think that's actually the only AI one there is because the others are all photographs, but disregarding that for the time being. It then moves on to teaching you really good techniques like moving your whole arm, your elbow, your shoulder, and the sort of strokes that you can use and that you can adapt to what will work for you. And I really like how this app is telling you this information in a way that is very open-ended. But then moving on from that, so I do think it's a bit weird that it went from teaching me the Loomis method with drawing people to suddenly teaching me how to draw a circle. Like, shouldn't it have been the other way around, if anything, that, like, you teach me how to draw a circle first, and then teach me how to do something more complicated, like the Loomis method? I feel like this is the wrong way around here. Okay, but who's going to do this every single time they need to draw a circle? Who's going to make this whole grid every single time they need a circle in their artwork? You don't. You just don't. I mean, maybe the point of it that this is trying to teach you more motor control, which I kind of get, but at the same time, like, I'm just tracing something, It's literally giving me the line to trace. And if it wants me to learn motor control and connect in a circle, then it shouldn't give me this line to trace, because I can just trace the line without actually learning about how this grid lets me connect the lines to make a circle. Never mind, I take everything back I just said. I take it all back, it's making me do it on my own. Okay, how many circles are we drawing? Is this the circle lesson suddenly? I thought we were learning how to draw people. I mean, don't get me wrong, circles are important, but why are we just tracing circles? Like, this shouldn't... I mean, my circles are crap anyway. Don't use your wrist to do circles, kids, because this is awful. I've not got the room right here to use my whole arm to make these circles. I have to use my wrist. So I am having issues right now. What? Are we still going with circles? Oh my god. Circle, circle, circle. I actually do them better when I don't have something to trace over. Oh my god, okay. Wee. This is ridiculous now. I'm rushing this because this is absolutely ridiculous. They're gonna look better if you've not got a guide, because a circle, like, let me just do a circle, okay? There. That would have been perfect if my pencil had glitched out then, but you see what I mean? That without the guide, I am doing better circles than I am with the guides. Like, they're still not perfect, but like they're better, they're neater, they're more circular. Oh, and we're suddenly back to faces. Okay, this is whiplash. This really is whiplash. Why didn't the whole circle thing come before the first human lesson? I don't understand the logic there, but I guess we're back to this again. After the sudden circle detour, we went back to the Loomis method, and it showed me how to set up my circle and lines in proportion with the face. And then it had me do it again, and again, and again, and again, and again. And I really got sick of this by the end of it. Thing is, I'm not learning anything here. It said do it yourself now, but it's still giving me that guide that is showing up every now and then. You can see it doing it. And as a result, I'm just following the guide. I'm just tracing it. I'm tracing the guide it's given me. And therefore, I'm not actually thinking about the lines and where they need to go or why the lines need to go there. I'm not thinking about any of that. I'm just doing what it's telling me. And that's not learning. That's not how you learn. Tracing doesn't help you learn in this respect. Tracing can help you learn very roughly, but it's not helping me know why I'm putting these lines here in particular.
12 seconds later.
Literally every time I say something like that, and then it makes me take it back, because now I am doing it on my own. See, that time I did actually have to think about it. I didn't actually have to think about where each line was going and where the circle connects to the straight lines. I did actually have to think about it then. And this is way better for learning, just doing it with absolutely no guide at all. Like, there's a reference image for me to look at, but there's no lines for me to trace over, and that's how it should be. Why is this guy looking at me weirdly? I'm sorry I'm drawing on your face, mate. It's not my fault. But part of me feels like this would be easier to do if I wasn't drawing over a human. Because, that feels like that shouldn't be that, this here feels like it shouldn't be that far out, whereas that's what the app wants me to do. So I feel like letting me do this not over a human face would be better for me. Okay, I'm getting a little bit bored of doing this now. Okay, maybe I'm being a bit too critical. I just got really bored doing this. But I guess doing something over and over is the way to learn. But God, my attention span was not having that. Oh, not more. Don't make me do more. I don't even know what I'm doing now. A homework assignment? I'm just doing the same thing again. It's the same thing again. It's the same thing again, over and over. Oh my God. I mean, I guess this time there's no reference image for me, so I guess it's a bit better. I was really relieved once I'd finished drawing the circle and the cross over and over, and I was happy to just move on and keep going, learn something new, and not be suddenly stressed out by a pop quiz that was just thrown in my face. I'm sorry, what? Now we're suddenly doing a pop quiz? Oh no, I wasn't paying attention. Where's along the middle horizontal line of the circle? I'm back in school. This is bringing back bad memories. Well, it's the eyebrows, right? Yeah, choose the next correct statement. Portions are standard and the same for all people. Well, no, they're not. Okay, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. I panicked over nothing. After the sudden pop quiz, we moved on to Unit 2, which continued teaching you about the Loomis method. This time now going into actually splitting up your circle into different proportions to do with the face. We once again got whiplash as we were taken from doing the Loomis method into dividing lines. Now, I did struggle with this part, and honestly it was completely my fault, because I just was kind of drawing the lines mindlessly. I wasn't reading what it actually said or how to do it. I was just tracing it because it was giving me something to trace. But I think that's the problem here. Because it was giving me something to trace, I wasn't really thinking that much about it. And as a result, when it came to doing it on my own, I got lost. I ended up lost. I didn't know how to do it. Because you get so carried away with tracing the guides it gives you that you don't actually take the time to learn about what it's telling you and how you're doing it. Maybe that's just me, but that's how I felt, and I ended up actually struggling on these freeform ones. Now, maybe if I'd sat and read what it was telling me in those little pop-ups, then it wouldn't have been an issue, but I got so carried away that my brain just completely skipped over them. So maybe that's something they could work on. Maybe even having it so that you have to pause for a second to read before you're able to just continue and skip all the dialogue. No, I don't like that there's no eraser though, it's only an undo. I'd quite like an eraser, it would be nice. See, there, that one was fine, but that one wasn't, so I had to undo both in order to go back to that one. Okay, and now it's I don't know which one it's unhappy with me about. There's no eraser, so if I need to go back, I can't erase any of these. I have to go back by using the back, the undo, which means I don't know which one was wrong. I don't know which one it was unhappy with. I would still have to go all the way back using the undo, and that just is tedious, and it's going to erase any work that I think is okay. It should let me have an eraser brush so that I can manually erase the parts that I think are wrong and redo them without having to undo parts that are already done and finished. Now, what's it not happy with? I've done it. It's what you wanted me to do. What's it not happy? See, the thing is now I have to, oh my God, because I don't know what it was unhappy with. To be honest with you guys, I'm getting frustrated and very bored about this as well. Maybe that's just me. Usually I'm okay with things, but this is not gripping me, and I'm getting bored to the point and I'm starting to feel tired. I just feel like it's too repetitive. I think that's its issue. At least for me, it's too repetitive. I mean, maybe this would work for other people. maybe you guys, you think this would work for you, being able to follow guidelines like this, but this just isn't working for me personally. But I don't know if I can fault the app for that, because honestly, the way it's actually teaching you, the tips it's given, you know, dividing things and using different parts of your arm, how to visualize things, compared to Simply Draw, this is amazing with what it's telling you and teaching you. It has a lot of problems. It definitely has a lot of problems. Still has a subscription problem. It still has a lot of problems in terms of just kind of outright lying to you with like thinking you're playing multiplayer but you're not. And I feel like there's a lot of technical issues with it, such as the pressure sensitivity of my pencil being a bit funky in areas. But all of that you can kind of put down to the first thing that we tried, which was the actual main drawing part of this app. And that main drawing part, yeah, it's the main part of the app and it feels like it's there more for fun than it is teaching you how to draw. But I really like that there is this section of the app. Now, I don't like that it's completely paywalled. Like I said with Simply Draw, I don't think anything to do with learning how to make art should be paywalled, especially since you can just go on YouTube and watch tutorials for free on YouTube. So I think having it paywalled is just silly, and, you know, just like Simply Draw, I just don't think it should be like that. But unlike Simply Draw's lessons, this is really good. This has really stripped it back to the absolute fundamentals, and for an absolute beginner artist, this is amazing. This would probably really actually help you understand things such as these proportions that it's showing me right now that it's making me do. Now, I think it'd be nice if you could actually choose what lesson you get to do, so that, you know, maybe you are someone that wants to know how to draw portraits, but maybe you're someone that wants to know how to draw animals instead. So I think it'd be cool if you could select what course you could do, rather than just being given a course. You know, the tips it's given you, like this up here, these tips are really good. But yeah, I think it's pretty good. Way better than I was expecting in terms of how it teaches you. You know, I was being quite critical of it earlier, but honestly, it's actually made me learn something. It's actually helped me learn about the proportions of a face. If you know me, you know humans is something that I can't draw. I've never been able to. Something that I want to learn, and this is actually helping me realise about the proportions. And like, look how quickly I'm doing it now. Like, I've actually like learned something. This has actually helped me. I mean, my lines are a little bit like not straight because I've got my iPad a little bit tilted, just so I've got a bit more room to work with, but I'm a little bit mind blown at how much this is actually helping me as a professional artist. It just sucks that you have to pay for this bit. It sucks you have to pay for the actually good bit of the app. The bit that actually helps you is the bit you have to pay for. And the bit that you don't have to pay for, or at least you don't have to pay for a little bit of it, most of it you do have to pay for. But that main bit of the app is crap. It's pointless in teaching you how to do things. It doesn't teach you anything. You're just tracing blobs. And it sucks that this really good bit is stuck behind a paywall. So what are my final thoughts on this app? Well, for starters, it is way better than Simply Draw, that's for sure. I absolutely love the way it teaches you in that little learning units part of the app, because it feels so in-depth. It feels like it's actually a proper art class. And yeah, I was being a bit critical of it, maybe because the teaching method wasn't for me personally, but I can see this working really well for some people. You know, the repetitiveness to build up your muscle memory, and learning genuine techniques like the Loomis method, and the tips it gives you are actually pretty decent. It feels like an app that is genuinely there to teach you, rather than an app that is there just to make a quick buck. Though, of course, the paywalls are a massive issue. Just like Simply Draw, we can only do one or two things before we get locked out, and unless we pay, we cannot do anything else. I mean, the whole lessons part that I just complimented is all locked behind a paywall. And if that was a cheaper paywall, maybe I'd say it was worth it. But around 60 quid a year, I don't think it's worth it really. Especially not when you can learn for free on YouTube and get the same sort of tips and tricks given to you on YouTube. The only difference is a YouTube tutorial isn't something you can directly interact with, unlike this app. But I don't think paying 60 quid a year makes up for that. I don't think the ability to directly interact with it makes it worth paying that much. If it was much cheaper, then yeah, maybe I would say go for it, but not at that price. As for the seemingly main part of the app, it's decently fun. You know, you're given a little pattern and you can sort of fill it in how you want to. Choose your colours, choose your brush, do what you want. And then you've got that free draw bit at the end that I really like, where you can really truly do whatever you want. And it even has the layers, which is pretty cool, but it's still very basic. But in saying all that, my problem I had with it was how, if you even somewhat go outside of the shape it gives you, like when I was experimenting with blending out that brush for some shading, it punishes you. It gives you that red bar and it takes points away from you. And that feels really harsh. Maybe it's me being a bit sensitive, but I feel like to a beginner artist, that could really demoralize them. And I don't like the fact that it doesn't let you experiment, because part of learning and growing as an artist is experimentation. If you don't experiment, if you don't step outside of your comfort zone, if you don't try try things you don't normally do, or give something a go because you think it might work but you don't know, well, you're never going to get better if you can't do those things. So it limiting you and not letting you experiment and giving you a punishment for doing so, I don't like that. And then there's the bots, and the fact that it tries to pretend you're with real people but you're definitely with a bot. I mean, I'm okay with bots in games. I would just rather that it would tell you. And personally for me, I'd rather just draw the thing on my own than have a bot drawing it with me. So I think the bots are okay if they gave us the option to turn them off and let us do the art on our own. So you can toggle the bots on or off and either do it on your own or do it with a bot. And I also think the online multiplayer should be more open. From what I can tell, the only way you can actually play with another person is if you make your own room and then you know the person and give them a code to join your room, which is all well and good, but I do think they should also have the open public multiplayer lobbies that they advertise in the app, but those are actually just with bots and not real people. So I think they really should have the open online multiplayer servers. My other problem with this part is it doesn't really teach you much. You're just tracing over things. You don't really know why you're putting those things there. You know, there's a line here, a line there, a blob of shade in there, a blob of colour there, and you're just putting them there based on what the pattern tells you. And you may not know why that goes there. You may not know why that lighter blob of colour goes on the eye. You may not know as a beginner artist that that is a part of shading, that it's a highlight. And it doesn't tell you that. It just lets you copy exactly what it puts down. And that's not teaching you. You can copy and trace all day long. And sometimes, yes, it can help you learn, especially if you're learning anatomy, then tracing real life photos can help you. But here, you're going to be learning nothing because it tells you nothing. And I find it a shame that this is the main part of the app, because I think the other part of the app, the actual art lessons, are miles better. And while this part is a fun part, it's like a fun game, it's definitely not for teaching. And I think maybe they should separate the two. Have the pattern tracing part that you do with other people its own app and have it as an art game, and then have these art lessons as another separate app that is actually an art teaching app. But then the learning part isn't paywalled. Hell, maybe even make it that you have to pay for the learning app itself, but it's a one-time payment and then that's it, you've got it for life. Just something like that would make this so much better, and it's a shame that this app's biggest problems do come down to the paywall and the subscription, because otherwise it would be an amazing app that I would happily recommend to everyone. So all in all, the actual lessons part is really good. The main fun part is alright, not my sort of thing, but it's cool. But the paywalls really hold it back, and I think the two parts of this app should be separate apps. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. If there's any other apps you know of that you would like me to try, then do leave them in the comments down below. I will happily read your suggestions and give them a go. If you enjoyed this video, maybe leave a like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. A huge shout out to my members. I really appreciate your support, thank you so much. If you'd like exclusive content, such as members only videos, or behind the scenes sneak peeks and works in progresses, as well as custom emojis you can use in the comments, then become a member by joining the channel down below. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see all you wonderful people in the next video. Bye!